Committed to bringing you up-to-the-minute news on local and international maritime trade, this is Nimasa This Week. Hello and welcome. My name is Iretiola Doyle. Now, last Thursday was commemorated as the World Maritime Day by the International Maritime Organization, IMO. The IMO headquarters in London organized a special event to commemorate that day, after which member states were asked to designate convenient dates to mark the date in their various countries. In Nigeria, the day was commemorated on Monday, the 30th of September, at a symposium that took place in Calabar, the capital of Cross River State. Here's a report of that event as prepared in our studios.
The World Maritime Day is a day set aside by the International Maritime Organization to draw the world's attention to the complex but vital maritime sector, without which today's interdependent global economy would have been unable to function, considering the fact that over 90% of global trade is carried through the sea. The Global Maritime Institution, IMO, recently celebrated this year's World Maritime Day on Thursday, the 26th day of September at the body's headquarters in London with the theme Sustainable Development, IMO's Contribution Beyond Rio Plus 20. Aligning with the World Global Body and keying into this year's theme of sustainable development, the Federal Ministry of Transport, under the auspices of the Federal Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Umar, in conjunction with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency Nimasa and other parastatals and agencies under the ministry, organized a workshop and symposium on September 30th, 2013. The event, which took place at the Transcorp Metropolitan Hotel in Calabar, Cross River State, was organized to commemorate the World Maritime Day in Nigeria. The well-attended event attracted dignitaries from both the government and the private sector. Present at the event were the Governor of Cross River State, who was represented by his deputy, Mr. Ifyok Kobams, the Honorable Minister of Transport, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Transport, Engineer Nebolisa Emodi, the DG of Nimasa, represented by Barrister Callistus Obi. The celebration, which was highly interactive and exhaustive, generated a lot of interest and comments from the participants as the technical papers presented touched on a lot of sensitive and topical issues.
An issue comes up, as far as I'm concerned, it's a Nigerian issue. I do not think we should apportion blames or try to defend ourselves and things like that. We will never get it. And the solution is, if you find somebody's ship that is not good, arrest that ship.
The paper presentation later dovetailed into a discussion session that came up with critical suggestions that would assist in shaping policy recommendations in the maritime sector and engender the actualization of some of the issues raised during the workshop. While declaring the event open, the Cross River State Governor, represented by his deputy, spoke on a lot of issues plaguing the maritime sector, such as safety of life at sea, marine pollution and control, cabotage and cargo reservation law. According to the governor, the solution to all these can only be achieved through the proper process of policy review.
The process of policy review will, it is hoped, be a significant tool in finding lasting solutions to the Nigerian maritime industry many problems. It is on this challenging but very hopeful note that I formally declare this year's World Maritime Day open, as I wish you all very happy celebrations.
In his opening remark, the Director of Maritime Services in the Federal Ministry of Transport, MS Nagogo, thanked Nimasa and other agencies under the Ministry of Transport for putting together the 2013 World Maritime Day event. The keynote address of the Honorable Minister acknowledges the fact that the implementation of Sustainable Development Program will depend on the active engagement of both the public and private sectors. In addition, the Honorable Minister reiterated the steps already taken by the federal government in addressing some of the issues raised at the UN Conference on Sustainable Development held in June 2012 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Government is committed to taking actions to reduce the incidence and impacts of such pollution Governments have installed state-of-the-art sport reception facilities in the ports of Lagos, Calabar, Port Harcourt, and Warri.
One of the major highlights of the 2013 World Maritime Day in Calabar was the presentation of a technical paper by the Director General of the Apex Maritime Regulatory Agency, Nimasa, Mr. Ziakede Patrick Akpoblekemi, titled Maritime Transport, Its Impact on Nigeria's Economic Development, was delivered by Callistus Obi, the Executive Director, Labour and Cabotage Services. In his introduction, the Director General x-rayed the complexity of maritime transport and the economic development therein. He also talked about the impact of maritime transport and its correlating effect on trade and tourism promotion, job creation, revenue generation, and institutional development.
Maritime transport is the backbone of international trade and a key engine that drives globalization. Around 80% of global trade by volume and over 70% by value is carried by sea and is handled by ports worldwide. We've also noted the impact of the maritime transport on our economic development, and this cannot be overemphasized. Hence, the federal government has developed and is still developing a maritime transport, and it will no doubt leave an enduring legacy for generations of Nigerians to come.
Engineer Emmanuel Ilori, the immediate past Senior Classification Surveyor, Lloyd's Register Classification Committee in London, also presented a paper titled Development of Sustainable Maritime Industry, Challenges and Opportunities. In his speech, Engineer Ilori spoke on the challenges Nigeria must overcome to achieve sustainable maritime development.
Investment confidence is enhanced in a secured environment, and maritime industry is very sensitive to insecure environment. Development of technical human capacity must be such that will provide the required function to support the various strands of the industry.
The immediate past president of the Nigerian Association of Master Mariner, Captain Adejimi Adu, rounded up the technical session with his paper on the role of safety and environmental protection on sustainable development of the maritime industry. As the World Maritime Day 2013 celebrations ended in Calabar, participants left on a positive note, believing that the vision for a sustainable maritime development is realizable through concerted effort and sincerity of purpose. Still continuing our public service awareness on the Coastal and Inland Shipping Act, otherwise known as the Cabotage Act 2003, revised in 2007, here are some information you might need to know. The Cabotage Act is not in conflict with other existing laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria which regulate market access in Nigeria. It rather complements the horizontal requirement for establishing a business in Nigeria under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990. The Cabotage Act preserves the right of foreign investors under the Nigerian Investment Promotion Act by establishing a special register for cabotage for fully foreign-owned vessels which are engaged in cabotage trade. Compliance with the Cabotage Act's requirement on manning of cabotage vessels also reinforces existing laws which require that expatriate quotas and business permits for foreign workers should be restricted to cases of non-availability of Nigerians for the positions applied for.
Up next is a new segment of Nimasa This Week.
Nearly 2,500 students trooped into the St. Brendan's Catholic School, Bomadi in Delta State on Saturday, 14th of September 2013 to take part in the Nimasa Science and Technical College Entrance Examination, which will enable them gain admission into the school. The exams, which started at about 11 a.m., ended at 5:30 p.m. because of the large turnout of both parents and students who came from far and near within the South-South region of Nigeria. 17 classrooms with a capacity of between 45 and 65 students was used to write the examinations in 2 to 3 trenches. The exams was meant to prepare candidates for the 2013-2014 academic section, which also took place in various states of the country like Abuja, Makurdi, Enugu and Lagos on the same day. The coordinator of the exam center, Mr. Dele Ojekoko, an assistant director in the agency, expressed joy and gratitude to God for the success of the exercise as it went peacefully without hitch, despite a turnout of large proportion of students.
It's a wonderful turnout, and I saw a well-informed environment. Awareness was in totality. People came from far and wide for this wonderful examination. What we are doing has to do with the maritime issues. The interest and the enthusiasm of the students and the people that are here for the applications for the exams is wonderful. So I see here professionally a high number of professionals coming up from this room.
This exercise is a fulfillment of the agency's drive towards ensuring indigenous human capacity building in the maritime sector, especially as the school and equipped students with the technical knowledge required to be relevant in the sector. Some of the parents who came with their children were satisfied with the conduct of exercise and commended the management of Nimasa for this laudable initiative.
Nimasa have done well. They have done well. I don't know the adjective, the appropriate word to use to commend them, but they should continue. They shouldn't relent in their efforts.
And I also appreciate the staff and the management for their coordination. Well, I must really say it was not easy. Even I can still blame them, but it's not easy for man to coordinate crowd on his own. And I appreciate everything, and I think the exam is going well and things are in form.
To all ship owners, shipping agents and mariners, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has observed a new trend in the clandestine operations of ship hijackers and sea-based robbers syndicate operating in the West African coast. Members of the vessels hijack syndicate pose as ship charterers seeking to hire vessels for petroleum liquid ship-to-ship operations. Unsuspecting ship owners and agents are by this notice informed that such charterers deploy the vessels for forceful and criminal transfer of stolen petroleum products from hijacked tanker vessels. Ship operators are advised to request valid documentations and clearance issued by relevant regulatory authorities from prospective charterers or their agents. Such documentations may be authenticated at the agency prior to release of tanker ships or barges to supposed charterers. Ship owners or agents shall be liable for illicit activities of the syndicate who abandon such chartered vessels at sea to evade arrest. For further information, contact the Acting Director, Shipping Development, 6th floor, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, 4 Burma Road, Apapa, Lagos, or email publicrelations@nimasa.gov.ng.
We had the opportunity of meeting up with the principal of Nimasa Science and Technical College, Mr. Enere Soteya, and we asked him a couple of questions, beginning with what was the rationale behind setting up the school in the first place?
The rationale behind Nimasa Science and Technical College of Calabar is to promote science and technological advancement and to enhance middle-level manpower development and capacity building, especially in our maritime industries.
We then went on to ask where the school was located and the reason behind the choice of location.
This particular college is located at an ideal area known as Okoloba in Delta State, and it is located within this area. You know, Nimasa is a maritime agency, and it has to do with the riverine area so that we can have our mandatory courses, seamanship courses as related to the maritime industry.
Mr. Enere Soteya then gave us an overview of the school's curriculum.
What is going to happen to this school is that When the students are successful in the entrance examination, definitely they will be admitted and they will come and study the general subjects, which has to do with English, chemistry, physics, maths, economic, and geography, and also that of the technical aspect. They have to deal with the construction trade and the engineering trade. And in the engineering trade, we have areas like motor vehicle mechanic. We have areas like marine practice and others. We also have that of the rating programs. That of the rating programs has to do with the mandatory courses and also seamanship as related to maritime agency.
Finally, we asked the principal to tell us the modalities for admission into the school and the qualifications that every candidate will need to gain admission.
For candidates to enroll into this school is very simple. We've made it very simple. And what we've done, we advertise that they should have their JSSC, that Junior Secondary School Certificate, so that they can just come to the examination and write the exam. And when they are successful, we admit them because we want to catch them young, so that we can groom them on these technical areas, so that tomorrow when they are opportune, they can get into the maritime university that we are about to establish, and they become engineers, mechanical engineers, and so on. Yes, actually, there was an advertisement on national dailies, and candidates really turned up, and it was very impressive. It was encouraging, and the exam went smoothly. It went smoothly, and we had the exams at 5 centers, which includes Abuja, Enugu, Makurdi, Delta, and Lagos. As soon as we complete the admission process, right now they have written the examination. They wrote the exam on the 14th September 2013. And as soon as that is being done, we are going to put things in order to ensure that they admitted and the admission kickoff.
We continue on our update this week on the guideline on the implementation and governance of the International Ship and Port Facility Security ISPS Code. Pursuant to the mandate of instituting an effective ISPS Code implementation regime, Nimasa, as the designated authority, is committed to ensuring that adequate and requisite training is provided for all cadres of personnel in the maritime sector as necessary. Therefore, the agency shall provide periodic training courses in port facility personnel, of which all stakeholders are expected to take advantage of to equip their personnel. Nimasa shall conduct the following courses relevant to the port facility part of the implementation mandate on a scheduled basis. A. Port Facility Security Officer course. B. Offshore Security Officer OSO course. C. Maritime Guard Force Security Officers MAGSO course. D. Enhanced Management Level Maritime Security EMMS course. E. ISPS Code Awareness course. And F. Port State Control Officer PSCO course levels 1 to 3. Join us next week as we continue to update you on the ISPS code and the responsibilities of Nimasa as the designated authority in subsequent episodes of the program. For more information, visit www.nimasa.gov.ng.
Nigeria's apex maritime regulatory authority, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (Nimasa), has started the implementation of the voluntary retirement scheme. Over the last couple of months, the agency witnessed the voluntary retirement of 4 of its directors who have served and contributed immensely to the growth of the agency. Recently, the Planning, Research and Data Management Services of Nimasa organized another Sandford cocktail party to honor one of their retiring director of the department, Mrs. Elizabeth Nanyi Akiga Gusa, at the Rockview Hotel in Apapa, Lagos. The Assistant Director of Planning Nimasa then came forward to read the celebrant's citation and commended her achievements during her service in the agency. Presentation of plaque and gifts, cutting of the cake, and also the toast to the celebrant were some of the highlights of the events. Mrs. Gusa was not just delighted on the honor bestowed on her, she then went ahead to give some words of encouragement to the existing staff of the agency.
If you are younger and you feel, oh, I have maybe 5-10 years, begin to develop the things that you think you need to do. Because once you do that, when the time comes, you'll be dancing and going. You will not feel as if somebody cajoled you. No. Remember, all of us that took this option, we took it voluntarily. Nobody forced us. Some of our colleagues feel, me, I'm not ready. It's also acceptable. You can't force anybody to retire. It's only somebody who is interested in going that will go. So, my advice to you is be positive about retirement. You are not sentencing yourself to death. Because when one door closes, another will surely open.
Still on the World Maritime Day observance, this year's theme was derived from the outcome of the Rio Plus 20 conference. Up next, we bring you a special feature on the maritime-related issues contained in the Rio Plus 20 conference that formed the subject of this year's theme, Sustainable Development of Shipping.
The theme for this year's World Maritime Day is derived from the agenda set by the Rio Plus 20 conference, which held in June 2012. The Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization (IMO), Mr. Kogi Sekimizu, revealed as much in his World Maritime Day address to member states of the IMO. Since much of the Earth consists of oceans and water bodies, it is therefore a moot point that the sustainability of the marine environment will attract quite a lot of attention from a conference dealing with the Earth's environmental issues. The environment is also a huge source of revenue and is the principal vehicle for the development of global commerce. In Nigeria, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, is the implementing authority for IMO conventions and protocols. The responsibility for providing the ideal institutional framework for sustainable maritime development lies squarely with the agency. As a nation, Nigeria subscribed to the original objectives of the Rio Summit of 1992 and is obliged to implement the letter and spirit of Rio Plus 20. Nimasa, ever mindful of the agency's role in this regard, has identified the aspects of the conference that relate to it.
Following the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 2012, also known as the Rio Plus 20, the International Maritime Organization (IMO), in order to contribute to the theme for the 2013 World Maritime Day, has chosen sustainable development, IMO's contribution beyond Rio Plus 20. The team considered the importance of the maritime transportation system for global growth and prosperity. It also recognized that our globalized world would simply not be sustained without reliable transportation of goods around the globe by ship.
Evidently, Nigeria through Nimasa has bought into the commitment of the IMO to respond to the multifaceted challenges confronting the objective of sustainable international shipping in a robust and effective manner. Nimasa has over the years employed a matrix of strategies to ensure that Nigeria meets with its international obligations to conventions and protocols relating to the sustainable development of maritime activities. The agency organizes numerous fora where issues relating to the marine environment are discussed and solutions proffered. The constructive engagement of the varied stakeholders by Nimasa appears to be bearing fruits, as there is a discernible improvement in maritime-related activities within Nigeria's territorial waters. This discernible improvement of maritime activities will ultimately usher Nigeria into a golden age of international shipping, because the sustainable development of shipping generates wealth, jobs, and economic activities not only in the maritime sector but in other areas that rely on maritime trade for access to global markets. Shipping contributes significantly to the three pillars of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental. Nimasa appears committed to establishing a coordinated and integrated approach to maritime policy formulation and implementation with a view to achieving the noble goal of sustainable development in shipping.
Now that is our show for this week. As always, we hope we kept you educated and informed. Now please don't forget, Nimasa This Week is an interactive show. We want to respond to your questions, your comments, and even your criticisms. All you need to do is to send us an email to the address currently showing on your screen. Now I'm going to be here same time, same station next week. Until then, we're wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.